When two of Sparda's amulets are combined along with the Force Edge, the legendary Devil Sword Sparda is formed. A ginormous cleaver of a blade transforming into a scythe in an instant. This fleshy sword, if you can call it that, enhances the power of whoever is wielding the damn thing. On astronomical levels, vaporizing a room full of demons in an instant. Hello, it's the Devil Joe, back again with a brand new video. And today, I'm gonna find out which Devil May Cry game has the best Devil Sword Sparda. Taking a look at DMC1 Sparda, the time Trish was a random unlockable in Devil May Cry 2. That time Trish catfished the Order of the Sword is Gloria in Devil May Cry 4. The time the wacky woohoo pizza man got Daddy's sword back after a month-long nap. Before fusion dancing it with a broken rebellion. Based on the following categories: design, which one looks the best? Sound effects, which one sounded the best? Moveset, which fleshy cleaver had the sickest looking moves? Damage, which Sparda made demons bleed out the hardest? Crowd control, which scythe sword hybrid managed entire hordes the best? To award the winning cleaver with the heavyweight FleshLight Blade Championship title. Without further ado, let's jump into this crazy ranking. Our first category is design, starting off with DMC1 Sparda, that meaty Soul Calibur looking. Sword is huge and out of this world looking. Hell, you can clearly see a skeletal spine poking out of that side. Having the perfect amulet stuck in there, as if it's its literal heart. Just slightly above the Force Edge's crossguard, looking like Sparda's DT'd head as per usual, sitting on the exact same spiraled handle, coming out with a multi-skull pommel that the Force Edge had. Somehow there's a hook coming out of the pommel connecting to the curved ass cleaver blade, coming out of the beefy log that extends, folding outwards into a scythe. Design-wise, the thing looks insanely out of this world bonkers. Not only does it work well for Dante's design, the damn thing looks like an ancient demon weapon that could have only been crafted in hell, using some Resident Evil bioweapon design aspects to its lending it a fuck ton of uncanny valley aesthetics, especially because of them fleshy ass mechanisms it has. Then we got the Devil Sword unlockable in Devil May Cry 2. I'm gonna be honest with you, the thing is a slightly higher res version of DMC1 Sparda, but washed out. Some of the color it had is almost non-existent here. The details are the same, sure, but it looks like they copied and pasted the model from DMC1, slightly upping the resolution while forgetting to add some of the color that went missing. So yeah, it is what it is. Moving on to that time Trish wound up handing Lady the last slice of pizza in Devil May Cry 4. The Sparda here might look the same as the others, except that it ain't. First off, the crossguard is covered by the fleshy part, taking a tad bit more inspiration from the Soul Calibur in that regard. And holy shit, the amulet looks a lot more embedded into the fleshy part. I can't even see the outer part holding the jewel. Kinda like the sword has transformed over time, showing that the Force Edge is never coming back like ever, as the sword will gradually look way more demonic. But the spine is still straight with no spikes in sight. The spiraled handle is there despite having the multiple skulls on the pommel. The damn hook and spike are sharp enough to stab anybody on a whim. The blade itself is the same sharp cleaver, sinking into the fleshy part of the sword. To be honest, I prefer how it looked in DMC1, because of how much design synergy it had, while showing a lot of the Force Edge details on it. Then we get the rare time the Devil Sword Sparda got yeeted along with the wacky woohoo pizza man. This sword, oh my goodness, did they get a whole ass renovation. First off, the spine has them bones protruding out of it, like it's about to turn into a whole ass demon. The flesh has mostly taken over the sword, engulfing even the clearly visible Force Edge crossguard, where on top of it is that one bone attached to the spiraled handle. that got curved to the side looking quite red. The pommel only has one skull, no spikes coming out of it. That perfect amulet is deeply etched inside of the flesh. I cannot see the gold holding the jewel. There are even some extra green gems stuck there. The blade itself be kinda thick, featuring some sick ass Damascus detailing on the thing. Oh, scythe mode reminds me of Doom's Crucible, which looks pretty sick, not gonna lie. This is low-key my favorite design for the Sparda. It's metal as fuck, especially how fleshy it is, with some of these arthritis tendons that seem to keep the blade on it somehow. The thing just looks metal as fuck. Then we got this here top 4 kicking it off with DMC2 Sparda. It is DMC1 Sparda, but it's got less color in it. A bare bone copy and paste job, that's all she wrote. Number 3 on the aesthetics list is DMC4 Sparda. Because it tried to hide a lot of key aspects of Force Edge like the crossguard, and the flesh this time around makes it look like an oversized piece of beef jerky somehow. In the number 2 spot, we got the original appearance of the Devil Sword Sparda. Bruv, this thing is nothing short of iconic, being the franchise's first iteration of the Flesh Blade, knocking the Soul Calibur out of the water because of that fucked up Resident Evil looking contraption, appearing to be something that cannot be forged by a human weaponsmith, that can only be carried by a legendary demon knight. Taking the rightful number 1 spot is DMC5's Devil Sword Sparda, that is quite literally an evolved version of the blade, coming out with even more fleshier bits, protruding bones, sharper blade, all of that great shit, man. Imbued with the aesthetically pleasing powers of heavy metal. Our next category is sound effects, starting it off with the first Devil May Cry. The sound effects are kinda samey while slicing the air, and enemies butt heavier than Force Edge. While fighting off Moondis in DT, the sword makes a ton of spectral whooshes that sound like they're ripping right through dimensions, with them energy blasts. Pretty solid for what Camille was able to do back in those days. Next Cleaver on here is Devil May Cry 2's version of the Sparda, using the very same sound files that DMC1 had for air swipes, along with DMC2's potato chip munching sound effects for when an enemy is hit. There ain't anything special about it, that's all she wrote, folks. Next up is DMC4 Sparda, and by god, them sound effects go harder than any hot-blooded male's rooster reacting to Trish's I meant Lucid Umbra! First off, every time the air sliced off, the cold steel skin is blasting away at your ears from start to finish. Of them slashes in each combos, just listen up to those sounds. Oh, the charges and energy attacks are on a different ass level, like getting smacked with the space-time continuum. Just listen up, man. The absolute stuff of madness, peak sword sound design. Next up is the Devil Sword Sparda in Devil May Cry 5. The sound motifs are a tad bit different to the one in DMC4. Scratch that, it's a lot different to the one in 4. The skins are there, but for some reason I got a feeling that the amulet is shaking inside of the Sparda after every slash. A pretty cool detail, but it flushes the slices out. Here's what I mean.
Well, accounting for taste.
I don't know, man, the subtle rattling kinda sounded weird and off-putting a bit. Whenever Dante prop shreds, it sounds like it's rattling. Here's what I mean. I kinda expected the skins to go in a 360 direction, but it is what it is. The sound effects aren't bad or anything, they're just held back by DMC5's need for realism. Then we get to the top 4 of the sound effect category. Number 4 on the list is DMC2. Just a copy and paste of DMC1 sound bites, that's all we got here, folks. Number 3 on this here list is DMC1 sound effects. They're pretty good actually. I like the emphasis of heft that it has, since we're talking about a ginormous sword of insanity. So obviously there's gonna be a shit ton of weight packed into it, with heavier whooshes and all. Number 2 on the list is DMC5 Sparda. The sound effects are skinty and of cold steel. Issue is it's kinda rattly. They're not bad at all. They're kinda washed out. Number 1 on the list is DMC4 Sparda, just because of how immaculate them skins are along with the drives, truly making it a worthy sword of the Dark Knight of the same name. Now that the warm-up match has been dealt with, we move on to the main event! The Meat Cleavers are now fighting for the last breath to obtain the FleshLight Blade Championship title! Let's get ready to rumble! Our first heavy-hitting category is the Moveset, kicking it off with DMC1's moves. And I gotta say, man, this thing finally has a decent moveset. The basic combos and million stab are there, but once you finally upgrade any move for Alistair, it's transferred to Sparda on a dime. Stinger and round trip to be exact. They might be ridiculously powerful. Issue is the only time you have DT access is when you're fighting Mundus at the end of the bullet hell section. Air Raid and Vortex are nowhere to be found. What you have is this damage buff, leveling the playing field against Mundus. To add insult to injury, the Sparda DT doesn't get unlocked after beating the game. I wasn't able to talk about it in my Devil Trigger video because of how brief it was, man. Moving on to Devil May Cry 2's unlockable Sparda, the moveset here works a lot like how it did in DMC1. They're the exact same pause combos as in the last game. When we're talking about DMC2, that is pretty much a godsend. I can finally million stab at any point I want to million stab, instead of trying to awkwardly get it to work in DT. Hey, check this out, a proper stinger in Devil May Cry 2! Instead of whatever the hell that was. It's so good, dashing around with the deadly poke of death in DMC2. Instead of that lame ass slow-mo lunge. It feels like playing a Devil May Cry game, it's terrific. And kinda fun to use round trip. It works kinda like how it did in DMC1, but not really. At least it's fun to play with, handing Ifrit moves over to you. Not to mention the aerial round trips. Is this a copy and paste job? Most definitely. But if anything, DMC2 needed it. Moving on to the time Trish left the Devil May Cry to catfish an entire group of cultists, who didn't get the memo of why Sparda did what he did in Devil May Cry 4. You got combo A similar to Rebellion's, but there's a charge attack at the end, sweeping a sizable crowd of devils, making it a bit more different to Rebellion's combo A. It too has a combo B, not ending in a million stab, instead a 4/ overdrive that can fuck over a legion of demons. It looks fucking insane. What more can you ask for? Well, there's actually more that I'll get into later on in this section. For now, I'll just let you know about the awkward high time that Trish pulls off. Instead of good old reliable lock on attack button backwards, it's circle and triangle. The fuck? Shit is weird to pull off. But hey, at least there's a proper air rave to pull off. Juggling devils in the air, jump canceling flying Faust fucks off the ground, all that good shit. Plus round trip, 2 of them in fact. The first one is the good old reliable round trip where Trish throws Papa Sparda's sword in scythe mode. Then it engulfs the fuck out of devilish hordes, where you can get to keep it for longer because of that amulet's meter next to the health bar, handing an opportunity to lay down hands on them trapped enemies. Trish has her own version of Sword Pierce, V Divider acting more like V Collector. It's thrown in scythe mode, shredding enemies apart while gathering them to your feet. And I mean directly to your feet. In my opinion, this is one of the coolest spins on round trip that I have seen in this franchise. It would have been nice to see it make a comeback in DMC5, but hey, it is what it is. Speaking on throwing hands and more overdrives, there's bare knuckle combo A. Starting off as standard fisticuffs, transitioning to drives. Charge that combo A, you wind up getting this shit. Fucking shit, man. Them demons of the underworld just got a taste of Mama's wrath after getting 25 missed calls. You just know you're dead. Bare Knuckle Combo B turns quickly into a Dance Macabre, mixing combo A and B with a few electric punches and kicks, ending in a brutal ass golf swing instead of Dante's baseball swing in his own Macabre. A nice differentiator between those two. I'm actually surprised by how diverse and varied the Devil Sword Sparda's moves are, being fun as fuck to play with. If only the next game had some of these in the mix. Heading on over to June 15th, the day Dante woke up from a long-ass nap picking up Papa Sparda Sword in Devil May Cry 5. The moveset on offer is a lot like Rebellion's moveset bar for bar. The only difference is in some of the extensions they got. Combo A and B aren't too dissimilar to Rebellion. The Million Stab gets a large extension. High Time and Helmbreaker work as they always have. I mean, no duh. They are bread and butter skills for any longsword since DMC1. Plus the almighty Iya Poke of Death, Stinger clearing distance between you and the enemies. Then we got the OG Dance Macabre, fusing combos A and B, plus drives followed up by that iconic baseball swing, RIP swinging the sword in Scythe mode. We got the almighty Prop Shredder, where I'm not gonna lie, it looks cool as fuck when Dante's doing it with the scythe, showing off his unorthodox creativity. Round Trip is back with a much wider AoE than Rebellion's Round Trip. Because Scythe mode, sure, a lot of the moves are the exact same ones as Rebellion's, but I ain't complaining too much, because this is just Dante's natural fighting style using a sword. Having said that, bringing back the Divider, while also changing up the Dance Macabre animation a bit would have been nice, since Capcom should have taken advantage of the fact that Sparta tends to shapeshift. Or maybe add in a few moves I could switch out God Hand style, just so that I won't park it aside completely after Dante goes through a brief emo phase, turning into a Mega Demon, that's all. Now we're just ranking the moves down, kicking it off with DMC2 Sparda, for mostly being the same deal as DMC1 Sparda moveset wise. Landing in the number 3 spot is DMC1 Sparda moveset wise, it's an improvement over Force Edge. Finally getting Stinger and Round Trip into the mix. It's a shame that we got no DT access post-game. Winding up in the number 2 spot, we got DMC5 Sparda. It has the same moveset as Rebellion, but it's fun to see Dante's fighting style with the Cleaver again. Taking the home run with the number 1 spot is DMC4 Sparda. Now this one has skills that are sorely missed in DMC5, being a fuck ton of fun to play around with. Time to figure out which Sparda managed to make these demons bleed out the hardest, kicking it off with the very first Devil May Cry Sparda. Low-key, I am shocked. Shocked, I tell you, by how much damage I was able to dish out using this Cleaver. It seriously shreds these marionettes like they're made out of cheap plywood. Oh, fuck 'em marionettes, I'm surprised by how fast Shadow wound up turning red by a few Stinger spams. I thought I was cooked coming across the Panther, let alone 2 of him. Check this out, I am quickly axing off the goat head right here. Hell, it's wound up helping me a fuck ton against Phantom Nilo Angelo in Nightmare Battle 2. That I was struggling hard against while fighting him off using Force Edge. Oh, and once you get the DT against Mundus, he ultimately starts regretting the day he wound up killing Eva. Sad thing is you don't get this DT form post-game like ever. Still, damage-wise, Kamiya made it live up to the Legend of Sparda tenfold. Then we get the time you had to beat Devil May Cry 2 4 times to unlock Trish to use Sparda. Damage-wise, it's pretty goddamn strong, shredding a ton of them brain-dead demons in a heartbeat. Including bosses, I'd argue it makes DMC2 a lot easier, since Sparda deals a bit more damage than Rebellion. The only added challenge is the idea of having to get up close and personal instead of staying back and holding the square button. Other than that, a lot of them demons fall quick to the might of Sparta, so DMC2 is still ridiculously easy, but a tad bit more fun than playing as Dante in DMC2. Then we get the time Gloria handed over the Sparta to a cult of maniacs in Devil May Cry 4. By God, the damage this blade deals can be astronomical through a lot of the basic attacks, let alone adding overdrives to the mix. Guaranteeing instant death for a few enemies, hell, it can be more than enough to take Echidna down in different ways like you can't believe. Vaporizing the plant bitch faster than Netflix lady can say fuck, while turning a huge ass overgrown toad into sashimi with very little effort thrown in there. Burial's raging fires are tamed without breaking a sweat, melting the fucker's HP effortlessly. Then we get the Devil May Cry 5's Devil Sword Sparda. Damage-wise, it's way beefier than Rebellion when it comes to million stabs, round trips, prop shredder, just because of that scythe mode. And extension when it comes to Air Rave Combo A, the damage is the same as Rebellion. But hey, Stinger deals more punishment since extension is a thing, let alone Stinger and Devil Trigger. Damage-wise, it is objectively stronger than Rebellion, but it doesn't feel that much stronger than the other two swords. Then we get to counting the top 4 damage. Kicking things off with Devil May Cry 5's Devil Sword Sparda. It can deal good punishment, don't get me wrong. It's not as strong as Devil Sword Dante or other Devil Arms in the game. Plus, the other Spardas were way stronger. Number 3 on this list is the Sparda in DMC1. The surprise here is how much fuck off damage it deals without the need for Devil Trigger. It would have gotten higher on the list if the Sparda DT was in the post game. Landing in the number 2 spot has to be DMC2 Sparda, dealing stronger damage with DT, deleting the game. Number 1 on this here list is DMC4 Sparda. Bruh, this thing is nuts when it comes to damage. This Cleaver is on a whole new level, especially because of them overdrives, wiping off many devils off of this here battlefield. The next category we got is crowd control, kicking it off with DMC1 Sparda Sword. That is pretty decent on crowd control, taking in multiple demons. With one strike, hell, million stab collects a crap ton of devils in their wake, plus round trip that can collect a pretty sizable number of enemies. All in all, it's pretty solid when it comes to managing a horde of demons. If DT was available post-game, them astral projection beams would have seriously helped out keeping a crowd of demons at bay, but it is what it is. Moving on to playable Trish in Devil May Cry 2, Sparda's crowd handling is pretty good, slashes catching multiple brain-rotted folks, million stab collecting a clump of fools, with round trip keeping a handful of demons away from you, just like in DMC1. Then we head over to the time Gloria brought the Sparda over to the Order in Devil May Cry 4. In terms of crowd control, this sword knows the art of crowd fucking and handling, for the very reason of overdrive. Knuckle Combo A on its own can take down a sizable horde of demons in front of you. Hold that shit and hot damn, look at it! Shredding a whole ass army of the underworld with ease. Not only that, V Divider winds up collecting a bunch of lowlifes, shredding them, bringing their sorry asses to your feet, allowing you to combo them as you please. A great crowd control tool that helps you out a fuck ton, where you get to subdue enemies so that you can do whatever you want to them. Not forgetting round trip keeping a whole ass legion locked in place, giving you the opportunity to electrify the fuck out of them with lightning powers. Even basic slashes deal a decent number on these fools on its own, showing that this legendary sword is what got Sparta to take on Mundus's entire legion single-handedly after waking up to justice. We now get the time Dante got Devil Sword Sparda back. That is pretty solid on crowd control, with round trip keeping demons at bay easily for a pretty long time. Even Million Stab can go a long way in keeping the demons at bay, managing a pretty decent horde of devils. Hell, Dance Macabre's Baseball Strike backs away a decent chunk of demons away from you, especially when you have Devil Trigger open. With DSD in your arsenal, that baseball swing can back away a few more devils far from your general direction. Sure, the crowd control is decent here. It would have been nice if Sparta did have some of the drives and V-Divider option. Then we come to the top 4 based off of crowd control, kicking it off with DMC2 Sparda. First off, the crowd control is similar to DMC1 Sparda, without any new moves or strats. Number 3 on this here list is gonna be DMC1 Sparda for having some surprisingly solid crowd control, managing a pretty big army of demons, which is dope. Playing it for this video, I was surprised by how many demons I was able to keep at bay. Kamiya was definitely onto something. In the number 2 spot is Devil May Cry 5's Devil Sword Sparda for solid crowd control options, helping the wacky woohoo pizza man deal with a full host of devils. If only he got some of the tools his homunculus business partner had back in the MT Framework days. Number 1 on the list is Devil May Cry 4's Devil Sword Sparda. The crowd control options on display here is nothing but sheer insanity, crowd fucking everything in sight. By a shit ton of insane tricks the sword has. Makes it useful dealing with a crap ton of devils, earning the title of the legendary Dark Knight Sparda's Blade. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to the grandstand of crowning the World Heavyweight FleshLight Blade Championship title. Time to usher in this top 4. Number 4 on this list is gonna be Devil May Cry 2 Sparda. It's that low on the list because of it being the exact same thing as the Cleaver found in the first game. Landing in the number 3 spot is DMC1 Sparda for being a pretty big damage dealer and adding in some much needed reach for crowd control. If only that Devil Trigger was available post game, it would have ranked much higher. Number 2 on this list is Devil May Cry 5's Devil Sword Sparda. For one, despite the moveset being the same as Rebellion, I actually like seeing how Dante plays around with his old man's huge-ass butcher knife that got stuck on the cattle, using prop shredder and the baseball bat swing of the Dance Macabre. It's a pretty cool sight to see, but if there were changes in the animation in the Macabre using the scythe transformation mode a bit more often, or a V-Divider, a couple of moves added would have been nice. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Heavyweight FleshLight Blade Championship title, Devil May Cry 4's Devil Sword Sparda. Dude, this Sparda has it all, making the forces of hell bleed out oceans of blood, using some pretty creative as fuck moves too, that are fun to experiment with. That's why it wins the championship title. With that out of the way, we come to the end of this video. What were your guys' thoughts on it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, be sure to hit that like button and smash that subscribe button real impact style. At 10,000 subscribers, I'll pull off a whole ass Dante combo video in real life wearing this entire getup. Trust me, we are pretty damn close. Ring the bell icon to get notified on whenever I upload a brand new Devil May Cry or other action game video. This has been the Devil Joe signing out.